Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is still Isabinta, and today, well, I have a story for you today. It is okay. Let me not be too fast, but yeah, every Thursday I get together with you guys and I tell you bewildering stories of true crime stories that did happen. Okay, every Thursday. That's what we do. So stick around. Maybe at the end of the story you might want to follow me on this journey. Yeah. So before I go further, I have to give you this disclaimer. This video is not for children, obviously. So viewers discretion is advised. Make sure that you're not watching it in public out loud, you know. So also you could check it out. It's public records. All of the information I have, is available to the public. I am the public. That's why I had access to. Anyways, strap on because today's story, I mean, all of the stories are, but today's story is going to be a bumpy ride. So strap on. Let's get into the video. So, this story took place in 1996. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, Megan Huntsman, as of 1996, was 18 years old. Now, she was brought up in a very religious household. Her parents were strict Mormons, so you could guess how she grew up. They made sure that she and her siblings, had all of that religious ideologies instilled in them from like a very very tender age. So I guess that affected Megan, not necessarily in a negative way. Megan was a very timid kid. Okay, she was very shy. Take the shyest person you know and then times it by 100. That was Megan. So she was borderline timid. Yes, she was timid, and she grew up into a very timid teenager. I mean, well behaved. She had good grades, guaranteed. She was not getting into trouble, the usual trouble that teenagers would. So she was an all around good kid. So her parents approved, of course. Now, Megan had a boyfriend. Her boyfriend's name was Daniel. Daniel was a well behaved kid too, so her parents approved. I mean, they fell head over heels in love with each other, as you could imagine, first love and all. So he was a few years older than her, and he graduated high school before her. I mean, they met in high school, but a few years later he graduated while she was still in high school. Anyways, now 1996, she just finished high school. She was 18 years old. Daniel was in college. Life was good. So he decided, why wait? He got down on one knee and asked Megan to marry him. And of course, she said yes, they were in love. So both parents were happy. I mean, they were quite young. She was just 18, but I mean, they were adults, and they were not doing anything wrong technically. So the parents decided to support her. His parents bought them a house, because as at this point, they didn't have anything. They were just about to start getting a job, and start being adults. So the parents gave them a house, to help them, you know, start up life and all that. So yeah, so she was very, very timid. Megan was very, very timid to the point that she was unnecessarily secretive. Now, let me tell you something. Megan, as at this point in the story, was 9 months pregnant and her husband didn't know. Yes, I know what you're asking. How could he not know, right? Living with her and all that. But Megan kept denying it. She kept telling him that, no, I just saw my period. I'm okay. I'm not pregnant. I'm not pregnant. And she was wearing baggy clothes. She was doing all of the things that she was drinking alcohol, doing a lot of things just to make people not know she was pregnant. And I wonder why. You would think that maybe her husband is not the father of the child, but he is. He is. Now she continued all of this charade, wearing baggy clothes and pretending not to be pregnant until the 9th month she realized that pregnancy is not something I could hide forever. It's going to reveal itself anyways. So she told her husband, she was like, yeah, I'm pregnant and I'm not just pregnant, I'm 9 months pregnant. I'm going to pop anytime soon. Guaranteed. Daniel was very shocked. Like, what do you mean? How come I never knew and all that and all that and all that? So once he went through the shocked phase, he sprang into action. And what do we need? What do we need for the baby? What can we do? And all that, and all that. So Megan, she gave birth to a lovely, baby girl. She gave birth to a lovely baby girl. I mean, the family was booming, and life was good. Now, Megan had a problem. Now, when I said she was timid and secretive, I said it was in a bad way, right? Did I mention that? Because it was. Now, in the course of 10 years, 10 years after they got married and had their first kid in 1996, right? Megan kept getting pregnant year in, year out. Yes. And she doesn't try to terminate them. God knows that is bad. But she doesn't. She carries them full term. She carries the baby full term. And guess what she does? She presses her hand on their neck. She presses her hand on their neck until they're no longer alive. And then guess what she does? She would wrap the baby, the remains of the baby in a towel or in a cloth, and then she would wrap it, she would now put it inside a leather bag, she would tie it, and then she would now put it inside a box. Then she would use tape to go round and around the box, and she would keep it in their store, in their storage, where they just store random stuff, that nobody really uses. Could you imagine? Now, I said year in, year out, but I didn't really tell you how many, right? Yeah. So, Megan got pregnant 7 times. She got pregnant 7 times without her husband knowing. 7 times. And she unalived all of those 7 babies. She smothered them. Now, in between these 7 babies, I'm telling you, she also got pregnant twice. That he found out, he found out that she was pregnant, so she had no option. She had to like birth that one and actually keep it. So she after 10 years, she had 3 daughters. She had 3 daughters and she had 7 babies that she herself by her hand had exterminated. Now you would ask me why, but if you ask me, who am I going to ask? I don't know for the life of me why Megan would do that. But as at that point, Megan was depressed. The 10 years of marriage was not that blissful. They started dabbling into drugs. Her and Daniel were dabbling into drugs. They were selling it, and they were depressed, and it was a volatile house. I mean, drugs. What do you expect? So it wasn't like a happy marriage. And I guess that could be one of the reasons why she decided that she couldn't be a good mother, or she didn't want to be a mother or whatever. But she had other choices. She could have taken it to a motherless baby home, taken it to the police station or something. And in the United States of America, as at that time, there's something called the safe haven, is where new mothers could take their newborns to the hospital, or to the fire station or anywhere, no question asked. Somebody would take it off your hands. They would take it and anonymously even. You don't have to say anything. Just give them the kid and say you can't keep it, and they're going to help you out. No questions asked. So why didn't she do that? Why didn't she do that? According to her, it was the drugs. She was so, in and out of the drugs and out of her mind, and she wasn't thinking well. But this is not once, this is not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, 7 times. You got pregnant 7 times. I mean, what happened to contraceptive? You know, I don't get it. I mean, I've been where a woman gave birth. Recently my brother's wife gave birth, and I was terrified, petrified for her. It's not something small. It's not something small. A lot of women die, unfortunately, die in this process. It is not something small. But how could Megan do this 7 times all alone without telling anybody, without letting anybody know? And she gives birth alone in her bathroom. Yes, alone in her bathroom. She said she would play the music, play a radio very loud, and then she just sits down in the bathroom and she screams and nobody hears her. And she gives birth to the baby and she cleans up the bathroom. and she smothers the baby and she packaged it and put it inside a box and put it in, in their storage. 7 times she did this. And nobody was none the wiser. People just assumed that she was just fat because, I mean, she got married, and she had given birth to 3 kids. So nobody suspected, not even her husband. I mean, it's very hard to believe that her husband who gets intimate with her and who stays in the same room with her, didn't notice anything. But he really didn't. He really didn't, according to him, anyways, according to him and according to her, he really didn't. Now, so now this is 2006, right? 10 years after they got married. The law finally caught up with them for all of the drugs selling and usage. So Daniel was sent to prison. Yes, he was sent to prison, and now Megan was all alone with her 3 daughters. Now, for the first time in her adult life, I guess she started trying to make her life better. She took less and less drugs. She was trying to be a better person, a better parent, a better overall better person to our kids. So you should think that all is well in paradise. The volatile environment that the kids grew up in has changed, you know. But now, Megan started seeing a new man. She was seeing a new man, a gentleman that was treating her well, life was good. Now, Daniel's parents decided that if you're going to see somebody else, you cannot stay in our house. Fair enough, right? So she had to leave the house, but the kids were still in the house. I mean, the older one was overeating, so they were staying in the house. But she moved in with her new babe, her new boyfriend, which is great. Amen. But immediately she moved in with him, she got pregnant. Oh my goodness. I know. She got pregnant, but according to her, she miscarried. I hope she miscarried anyways. Now, her kids were staying in the house all alone, so one of their aunts decided I should come to the house and come stay there and look after the kids, look out for them. I mean, granted they were adults, but like they needed adult supervision, it was a big house. Anyways, when Daniel got paroled from prison, he came back to the house and he decided, I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to start everything afresh. And beginning, what I'm going to start with, I'm going to start with cleaning this house, renovating this house, you know. And he started with the garage, the store where she was packaging all of those babies. Now, when he started cleaning, he found one box. He found a few boxes. He opened one and the stench, he was wondering, what is this? What is this? After he was able to like tear it open, you know, he saw it and he was so confused. I don't get it. He immediately called Megan. He was like, I don't understand. I just saw little mummified baby in a box in our storage. I mean, do you have an explanation for this? She knew the jig is off. She was like, I can explain. He was like, no, I've already called the police. The police are on their way. Megan decided that the easiest way was for her to get a gun and unalive herself, but her her new boyfriend was there to, thankfully, he was there to stop her. But she knew that they were going to find the rest of the babies. I'm pretty sure that Daniel, as at that time, didn't know there were more. He thought it was just one, but there were more. There were how many? 6 more, you know. In total, I told you there were 7 babies altogether. Now the police obviously came and they found it. They found all 7 babies. Now already Megan was expecting the police because she knew what she did, and she knew that she had to get punished for it. I mean, deep down she knew. So the police came and they arrested her. Now they took her for questioning. And that was when we knew all of these things. We knew how she would carry the baby to full term, give birth alone in her bathroom, and package the baby, and all that, and clean up the bathroom and pretend like nothing ever happened. She even said 2 or 3 times her husband and some of their friends were in the sitting room watching TV or hanging out, and then she would just tell them, I don't feel too good. I'll just go to my room, go to the bedroom and just relax a little bit. And then she would go there and she would lock herself in the bathroom and she would give birth to this baby, and she would smother the baby, and she would package the baby, and she would clean herself up, and then she would take a bath, and then she would go to the sitting room and sit down with them and pretend as if nothing ever happened. Now I know that you want to know why. And the police did too. They asked her why. And she said, actually, because of all of the drugs and because of how depressed I was, I just I just didn't think I could be a good mother. I just didn't think I could. But who gave you the right to do that? Guaranteed it is your baby, but no, that is unacceptable on so many levels. Now she had to confess because they were going to bring the death penalty on the table. So she had to confess so that at least she could work out some kind of a deal. And they did work out some kind of a deal. She pleaded guilty and then she was sentenced to uh, you know, life in prison. Fair, right? But the husband was never charged because, according to Megan and himself, they never knew. He never knew. He and her kids, her daughters, never knew. Either her friends, if she had any, never knew all of these things was happening. They just knew that she was fat, and they just assumed that, you know, she was depressed, and then maybe she was just eating too much, and she wasn't taking very good care of herself, and she was just meek. So everybody just left her alone. They never knew. They never for once. They, they never knew. I mean, how could you just sit down and imagine that, your wife, has been doing all of this. She had been doing all of this. Now imagine in 10 years she had gotten pregnant 9 times, and seven of those babies, she unalived them. Almost unreal. Almost unreal. Like you couldn't believe it if I didn't tell you. It really did happen. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Now you have to say something. I mean, what do you think came over Megan? Do you think the drugs were an excuse, or do you think she was just a very, I don't know, evil human being? Because she had options, like I said. She had options, and there are a lot of women that are looking for babies. They are begging God for babies. They are trying out scientific this and that, methods just to get pregnant. And this woman did this. She did this. Oh my goodness. Well, this is the end of the story. But before you go, you have to tell me something in the comment section. Okay, tell me something in the comment section. What do you think about this story? It's very preposterous. I know. I know. Oh my goodness. Well, I'll see you next Thursday, same time, same station. Keep a date with me. So yeah, on behalf of me and my family, thank you so much for watching, for following, for liking, for commenting, all of that. I see you guys and I do appreciate you. Okay?